Okay, so good morning everyone and welcome to week 2, which is equivalent to weeks 3 and 4 of the usual online class. Okay, and for this session we have modules 4 I think, modules 4 to 10. So medyo madami ano po, pero with the discussion na nakita ko hindi naman siya ganun kadami. Okay, so first module, nandito ko lang po, ayan. So with the first module, anong tawag dito? 4 is all about simple and general annuities. Are you familiar with the word annuity? Have you encountered that word? Pag tatagalogin natin siya, wala siyang direct or ibig sabihin is wala siyang exact na Tagalog word na yung in just one word din like annuity, ano po. Pero as we go along with the discussion, malalaman niyo yung kanyang definition. And in Filipino, pag sinabi nating annuity, it means taunang kita, taunang binabayad, parang ganon. Okay? So and for this module, you're expected to, so here are the objectives. So first, you need to define terms that are related to simple and general annuities. Probably the word annuity, yan ang kauna-unahan natin kailangan maintindihan. Ano? And then illustrate and distinguish simple and general annuities. What's the difference between the two? And that you must know how to represent annuities to real life situation. Okay? So yung first question ko nga is, how well do you know annuity? Pwede ba mag-raise ang hand kapag kung sino man yung familiar sa inyo about annuity? Yeah, mukhang wala. Tumataas ang kamay. So as we define annuity, it means, yeah, so you have to remember this term. Ha? When we say annuity, it means a sequence of payments made at an equal or fixed intervals or period of time. So ito yung taunang binabayad natin na pare-parehas yung interval. So katulad din po ng rental payment. So you know naman what a rental payment is. It can be monthly, it can be quarterly depending on the contract, kumbaga. Same with monthly pension. Kaya nga sinabi siyang monthly pension, so buwan-buwan pumapasok yan. And then monthly payment for a car loan, yan. Kapag kayo ay may car loan sa banko or any financing company, so it's a monthly basis na pagbabayad. And that is an example of an annuity. Same with an educational plan or ano nga ba yun? Mga health plans, yan. So di ba monthly? And even yung St. Peter, alam ko familiar kayo doon na. So yung sa St. Peter na lang, di ba monthly naman siya, merong quarterly nagbabayad, yan. So example din po yan ng annuity. Okay? So what's now the difference between simple and general annuity? So when we say annuity, simple annuity, it is an annuity where the payment intervals is the same as the interest period. Okay? So distinguish nyo naman yan sa problem. As long as the payment interval, if it is, let's say for example, you need to pay quarterly and the interest period will apply quarterly, same siya, it's a simple annuity. But if they will be different in terms of the period, then it's a general annuity. So let's have this example. So when we say payments are made at the end of each month, so look at that one. So yung payment is made at the end of each month while the interest compounded quarterly. Okay? So ito yung sinasabi natin, yung term at saka yung interest period, they are different. That's why this is known as a general annuity. Okay po? While when we say simple annuity, look at this one. A deposit of 5,500 was made at the end of every 3 months. So what does it mean? So ibig sabihin, sa isang taon, mahati siya into 4. Diba? Kapag nahati into 4, our term for that is quarterly. And the interest is applied as compounded quarterly. So since yung words na ginamit for every 3 months is not exactly the same, but knowing that it will be every 3 months, it will take you quarterly to pay. or to deposit that 5,500, and the interest will apply quarterly then. So since the same, then that is an example of a compound annuity. Maliwanag po ba yon? So that's the
Yes,
first
po, ma'am.
classification of annuity, ha? Clear ko lang po. Nilakihan ko na siya. Okay, so let's save the next one. Let's try this. Okay. So will somebody read and try to classify whether this is a simple annuity or a general annuity, and then tell us why. Yes, Miko?
Payments are made at the end of each month for a loan that charges 1.05% interest, compounded quarterly. General annuity po.
So why general annuity?
Because po the payment interval is every month, while the interest rate is compounded quarterly or every 3 months po.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Miko. So very clear po yun, ha? The interest will apply quarterly. So that's why this is an example of a general annuity. How about this one? Anyone? Yes, Willard.
Simple annuity po.
Why?
Because the deposit was made at end of every 3 months po, and the interest is compounded quarterly po, which is equal to every 3 months din po in a year.
Audio of the other one. Kinig na ako?
Yes po, kinig po.
Ayan. So, yan. Gagamitin ko yung audio ng isa kasi parang napalyan na naman ng sounds nito. Okay. So, as we continue, na po yan. So, you're all correct with that. Another classification of annuity is that in terms of the time of payment. Okay? So, yung kanina ay period nga ba? Handang natin na. Ay, napa-advance ako ng. Yan. So, the first classification is according to payment interval and interest period. Na kapag kaparehas, simple annuity. Pag magkaiba, general annuity. Diba? The second classification is according to time of payment. Kapag yung time of payment daw is made at the end of each payment interval, then that is an ordinary annuity. But if the payment is made at the beginning of each payment interval, it's an annuity due. Yan. Kapag ka sa dulo, ordinary annuity. Kapag ka sa una, yung payment na ginagawa, it's an annuity due. Okay. Okay, let's have this one. Payments are made at the end of each month for a loan that charges 1.05 interest compounded quarterly. So obviously, since you have here the word at the end, so how will you classify this? If it is a payment made at the end of each month, then this is an example of, yes, Judel?
Immediate.
It's an immediate or ordinary annuity. Thank you, Judel. Yan, diba? Well, this one, yan, very clear din naman siya at the end of every 3 months. Lance? Lance, naimik ka ba?
Tig na ba?
Yan, na.
Ma'am, ano po, ordinary annuity po.
Or immediate, di ba? Thank you. O bakit daw dito? Ganyan. It should be annuity immediate or annuity ordinary 3 months. Ano po? So, may mali na naman doon si Mac. Erase ko lang. Okay, another classification, a third classification is according to duration, kung gaano katagal ang pagbabayad. If an annuity is made at the beginning and end of definite times, then it's annuity certain. So anything that there is a specific duration, yung sinasabi nating certainty of something, it's an annuity certain. Kapag daw naman, ang annuity in which the payments extend over the indefinite or indeterminate length of time, it is a contingent annuity. Okay? Parang, if this is the period, meron pang extension, yan. It's a contingent annuity na ang tawag natin. Okay? Okay. So, if you if you will encounter the symbol T, okay, for this session, it deals with the term of an annuity, which is the same as time nung sa simple and compound interest natin. Ano po? Kaya lang ay ito, this is the time between the first payment interval and the last payment interval. So, unlike nung sa simple and general interest natin na yun yung time na sinasabi is the period wherein you will have to pay this certain amount. Ano po? Ito ay interval from the first payment to the last payment. Second word that you have to remember is the regular or periodic payment, which is noted by R. And when we say R, it's the payment in an annuity, each payment. So if you will pay monthly basis, so it's the monthly payment, okay? If it is quarterly, then the quarterly payment, okay? Next, we have the amount or future value of an annuity, which is denoted by F. So same din naman do sa last natin, diba? Kapag may F tayo, that's the future value. And that is actually the sum of the future values of all the payments to be made during the entire term of the annuity. Meaning, during the first year, ito yung kailangan yung bayaran. During the second year, ito yung kailangan yung bayaran. Yung total nun, yun po yung magiging F natin. Kaya nga sabi ay, the future values of each, of each, tapos yung sum na niya. Then we have the present value of an annuity or the P, and that is actually the present values of all payments to be made during the entire terms of the annuity, or yung payment na nilalagay doon. Let's say, for example, you need to deposit or you need to pay 5,000 pesos on a monthly basis. So that will be the present value, the 5,000 pesos. Okay. So ito po yung illustration natin ng time diagram kapag pinag-uusapan natin ng ordinary annuity. Okay? Diba sa ordinary simple interest natin, kapag sinabing ordinary, it's for 360 days, sorry. Tama na. Lance, nakataas ang kamay mo? May gusto kang itanong? O yan yung kanina pa? Okay, so I'll continue.
Hindi lang po.
Okay. Thank you. Then kay R, kanina. Ito yung payment, di ba? The regular payment, the R, and then this is the terms or yung period natin. Okay? Kung yan ay 5 years man, so ilalagay natin yan. Okay po? So that's the time diagram. So tingnan natin to. Okay, let's have this example. So 50,000 deposited every year for 5 years at 8% per year compounded annually. So obviously, this is an example of a simple annuity. Diba? Kasi sabi, deposited every year and then the interest will apply compounded annually. So same, yearly basis siya. So simple interest ang ating first example. And kung ilalagay natin siya sa timeline, since siya ay 5 years daw po, hiram natin siya up to 5 years, and then the payment that you have to make every year is 50,000 pesos. So to find the future value, diagram natin, okay? So since ang sabi, the payments is 50,000 and the interest is 0.08, di ba? So kung matatandaan niyo doon sa formula, meron tayo ng parenthesis na 1 plus R. Kaya siya naging 1.08. And then, bakit siya naging 4? So yung exponent po natin during the first year, since magpe-pay na kayo during the first year, so ibig sabihin, so yung maging remaining na lang is 4 years. Parang nababawasan, di ba? From the period, from the time na 5, so it will be 5 minus 1, yun na po siya, 4. During the second year, it will be 3 more years. During the third year, it's 2 more years. During the fourth year, 1 more year, and then the last one, so 50,000 na lang last during the last year na pag deposit mo. So meaning, you need to get the sum of all of this. Ano po? Kaya kailangan talaga na ng calculator, scientific calculator para mas mapadali. Okay po? So future values, itong limang ito, then it will be, ano po siya? Lupa. So a total of 293,330.05 yung accumulated amount of money na madideposit mo annually with an 8% interest. Okay po, itong first example natin. A problem that is illustrated using the diagram for the ordinary annuity and then finding the future values. Ano po? By using the diagram. Okay? No more, ang tawag natin doon? No violent reaction. So I'll just continue with the next slide. Okay? How about for this example? Find the amount of annuity, 700 pesos every 6 months for 12 years if interest is 6% compounded monthly. So this is an example of what? A general annuity. Diba? Bakit siya naging general annuity? When we say every 6 months for 12 years, meaning you need to pay this semi-annually. O kung semi-annually yan, and yet the interest will apply monthly, so different yung time periods natin, so it's an example of a general annuity. So if we will try to illustrate this using a diagram, so maging ganyan po siya, 700, and then yung period natin, up to 12 years. Ano po? So since yung 12 years, mahati siya sa dalawa kasi every 6 months, a total of 24 payments ang gagawin nyo. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, sa dulo, 24 na siya and not 12. Nakuha po yun?
Opo.
Yan. And using the diagram, yan, ito po yung maging basis natin. So during the first semi-annual na payment, it will be 700 times the interest. Yan, right? So bakit ba naging ganito? And at one point, unlike kanina doon sa first example natin na 1.08 yung interest natin. Bakit ito naging 1.03 something ganyan? Can anyone explain? Bakit siya nangyaring ganon? Base sa natandaan ninyo. Yes, Lance?
Ma'am, kasi po siya is compounded more than once a year po.
Yeah.
Then,
So, ang
gagamitin po natin yung formula na hinahanap po yung J po.
Yan.
Which
And what
is
is that
yung-
formula?
Yung ano po, ang pagkakatanda ko po is F equals,
Yung J
Ah,
lang, anak.
ah,
Yun lang
alin
sa
po ba?
kailangan. Yung J lang.
And J po ba?
lang
Ma'am, yung
mismo.
J po is J equals I raised to M over M po.
Over M. And paano natin kinukuha si M? Saan natin siya nakikita?
Ma'am, yung M po is yung yung numbers po o yung
Numbers
times
yun.
na kino-compound po yung isang interest po. So, po,
Sige. O, substitute natin.
dito po ang magiging M po natin is 12 po since siya po is monthly kino-compound. So,
Then,
magiging pong J equals
J equals what? Ano magiging I mo? Lance? O, sino magko-continue? Ano magiging I natin? It's 0.06
Zero.
ma'am 0 point ano 0.06 po raised to
raised to
raised to 12
12
po over
over
12 po.
over 12.
12 po.
Okay. So pag ginamit na natin si calculator, ayan na po siya, 0.06 raised to the, talagang kailangan ng scientific, diba? 0.06 raised to the 12th power divided by 12. It's 1.8139?
Ma'am, hindi na po yata need po i-raise po yung power.
Zero 0.06 divided by 12.
Wait lang po, ma'am.
Nawala din ako dito. Ano nga ito? ₱700 siya, di ba? So, kailangan natin i-compute yung I. magiging 1.06 raised to the 12th power okay. Anong ginawa natin dyan? Nalimutan ko ang ginawa. Okay, next we'll have the future and present values of simple and general answers. Okay, so these are the objectives. Baka dito makukuha natin bakit siya naging ganon. Kasi dito may formula na. Okay, let's try this learning task number 2. So this is entitled, How Much Will I Earn? Okay. So you decided to join the Kabataan Savers Club, which aims for financial growth of the youth nowadays. If you pay for 5 months on account that pays interest at 5% compounded monthly, how much money will you have after 5 months? Okay, the first question, what type of annuity is this? Is this general or simple? Anyone? Si Lance lang natas ng kamay. Go, Lance. O kanina pa rin yan, Lance. So this is an example of what? Ako na sasagot kayo ulit dalawang ano. Ayan, nakita ko si BJ. BJ! Placido, anak.
Ma'am, simple po.
Yan, simple. That's correct. Okay, because the payment is to be done at the end of each month and then compounded monthly. So monthly basis siya parehas, kaya simple interest. Thank you, BJ. The next question, what were the given in the problem? What is that 1,000 pesos? Ano yung 1,000 mga anak? That is what?
Principal amount po.
Yan. So the principal amount or the P. Si Hubert ba yun?
Yes po.
Ayan. Thank you. Wala ang Zoom ko dito. And the next question. Thank you, Hubert. What formula should you use to solve the problem? Malay ba natin? Ano? Wala pa naman akong pine-present na formula. Yan. Mamaya makikita natin kung ano yung gagamitin natin if the problem is a simple interest or simple annuity or general annuity. And then last, kinig ako?
Yes po.
Nico?
Yes po, ma'am.
Miko, kinig ako, Miko?
Kinig po, ma'am.
Ayan. Okay. So ito po yung mga general annuities. Okay? So when we say future value, the present value, the principal. Okay? So ito sa simple formula for the present value and this is the formula for the future value. Okay po. Ayan. So paki-screenshot, ayan na siya. So gagamitin natin siya. Madali naman tandaan pagka present value nandun yung I nasa unahan, baliktad. Tapos yung N natin dito positive na. For future value yung isa. Okay? Yan. So Ito, another problem, unlike nung nauna natin. Suppose Mrs. Carta would like to save 3,000 every month in a fund that gives 9% compounded monthly. How much is the amount of or future value of her savings after 6 months? So, kung in a fund that gives 9% compounded monthly, simple annuity siya. Okay po? And it asks F equals, ayan po siya. So, the 3,000 pesos is the regular payment. And then the M natin is 12 since monthly basis. And then our N will be 12 because the time period is compounded monthly. Monthly, di ba sabi natin, ang time period natin must always be given in years. Tama ba? Hindi pala. So yung time natin is 12 months. And then bakit siya na 6 months? Kaya half punod. Kaya po siya naging 0.05. Okay? So, our N will be equal to 6. Okay? And the rate is 0.09 divided by 12 is equal to 0.0075. Yung kanina ano nga? Hindi ako makali. Yung sa kanina natin. Hindi pa rin. Basta mamaya. Gagawin ko yon. Okay. So, pag sinubstitute na po natin o yung all given natin, ayan po siya. Okay? So, lalabas that the future value of her 340.89 pesos. Okay po. Okay, next. Same problem, ang hinahanap naman sa atin ay tinanggal natin na manipulate natin yung problem. Given naman yung future value, si N naman yung nawawala. So from the formula na F equals R times the quantity, yan. Kung sinubstitute na natin, ito siya, the first thing that we must do is to remove the 3,000 pesos here. So kaya dinivide natin both, and then the other denominator, which is 0.0075, kailangan ulit mawala, dinivide ulit both sides by minultiply. So kaya siya meron ditong times. And then from here, we need to transpose the 1 on the left side. Okay, ito na siya. And then lalabas, maging 1.04585. Yan. So para makuha natin yung value ng N, we need to use the logarithmic function natin. Yan. Okay? Kasi dito, yan, sides of the equation. So kunyuha po siya just to find the value of our N. So ginamit, dinivide both sides by this para mapagsolo si N. So nakita nyo, di ba? Yung manipulation na ginawa natin. Okay? And nyo, di ba yung N natin? N equals 12 monthly, yung M natin, times the time period na 0.5 kasi after 6 months ba? Nakalagay natin doon, di ba? Yan. Kaya ang N is 6. Okay po. So, ibig sabihin, tama yung naging solution natin. Okay, this time naman, again, another manipulation, same yung mga given, pero ang tinanggal natin is yung R. Yung R natin kanina, ano yung R kanina? 3,000 R natin. Okay? So substitute natin. So manipulation na gagawin sa loob na to, ni-raise si 1.0075 to the 6th power, then minus 1. Po yun. And then we need to divide both. Malabas approximately, okay? Kasi ito may decimals eh. Pag dinivide natin siya, 18,340.89 divided by 6.113631. So it's 2,999.999509. So that's why it's approximately equal to 3,000. Ano po? Hindi man siya exactly the same, exactly equal to 3,000, pero 1 peso difference, correct na for our R, which is 3,000. Okay po? So yun po yung different cases on how to use the formula for future value. Ito naman, si P naman ang nawawala. So kung si P ang nawawala, we don't need to use the F. Kasi based on the formula is P equals R times the quantity, 1 minus, yan, ito po siya. Yan. Sinubstitute natin yung all given, medyo madali pa dito. So ito na po yung lalabas. That the principal, the present value is 17,536.79. Okay po? Okay. For the general annuity, ito naman yung formula natin. Okay? So, saan nagkaiba yung mga formula natin? Ang may additional kayong kailangan kunin dito. Kasi ang magiging I natin, bakit ako nagka-R? So yun yung karagdagan natin dito. We need to find the value of R natin which is equal to R, yung regular payment compounding period. Yung M1 is the dalawa na kasi 'di ba if you can sabi natin kanina yung general annuity magkaiba yung time period nila. Okay? Yung interest period at saka yung payment period magkaiba. Yan. Kaya yun yung additional na kailangan nating hanapin. Parang ito makakasagot sa atin dun sa kaninang hindi natin makuha kasi general annuity yun kanina no, Nico. Yung example natin. Parang
Yes
ito
po,
yun.
ma'am. Opo.
Yan, tingnan natin to. Corix borrowed, he agrees to pay the principal plus interest by paying 38 for 3 years. So how much money did he borrow if interest is 8% compounded quarterly? Yan. So magkaiba na siya. Kasi each year, tapos yung interest period niya ay quarterly basis. Yan. So, ang R natin is 38,973.76. Yung rate natin, ay yung small r, the interest rate is 0.0. Sobra na naman ako dito, ng isang 0. It should be ha. Niloloko ko ng anak. More daw. 0.08. And then the M1 natin is 1. Bakit? Kasi each year. And then M2 natin will be 4 years. Anak, where's my phone? Bebe, pakuha mo na, anak. Yan. Kasi compounded quarterly. Kaya siya naging, yung M sub 2 natin is 4. And then yung the time period natin is 3 years. Okay, so that is 3 years. Therefore, our N will be M1 times T, and that is equal to 3. Mga anak, ito yung way ng pagkuha natin dun sa kanina. Ito na yon, yung I natin na ginamit, kaya siya naging 1.03 something kanina. Ito na yon, promise. So yung I natin, kapag i-compute natin, will be 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 plus 1 and then raised to the 4th power minus 1. Yan. Kaya siya 0.08243216. Okay po. So yun yung gagamitin nating I. And then sa formula natin, yan. Binalik lang natin dito ha. Substituting the formula for us to find the present value. Tama ano, mali yung aking pagkaka-encode lang na 0.008 mga anak sa calcul ninyo.
Tama po, ma'am. Tama po yung I po.
Yung
Mali
sagot
lang po
ano,
yung yes po.
ito lang yung aking ano. Thank you. Pag may mga mali akong ano ha, don't hesitate to correct me. Ayan. So typographical error lang po yun. It should be 0.08. Ayan na po yung ating M1, M2 over M1. Yan. Ito yung lalabas dyan na I natin. Yun yung ginamit natin doon. Okay? So pag kinompute na using our calculator, so the present value will be 100,000 pesos. Paki-check din po sa inyong calculator. Mga anak, idire-diretso nyo na ha. Since scientific calculator naman ang gamit ninyo, i-direction nyo na yung pagkuha ng present value natin. And as much as possible, wag muna kayong mag-round off dun sa sagot ninyo kapag ka hindi pa siya final answer. I mean, halimbawa, itong I ninyo. Okay? If you want to have an answer na nearest dun sa mailalagay ko, at least you should use 7 decimal places. Okay po? So kung hindi nyo siya lalahating gamitin, or ito na lang, para magkaroon tayo ng uniformity mga anak ha. In all cases ng decimal numbers na hindi pa siya final answer, always use 7 decimal places. But with my presentation today, ito pong ginawa kong presentation, sorry na hindi ko siya ginawa. Ngayon ko lang na ano na, para lang magkaroon tayo ng uniformity with all our answers. Kapag sa computation ng I, ang gagamitin po natin lagi is up to decimal places. 7 decimal places ha. So, yun po yung isa-substitute natin doon sa mga formula ng P at saka nung F. And then, pagdating sa final answer ng mga present values, future values, or whatever money na hinahanap na final answer na, 2 decimal places lang po siya lagi. Ano po? So, based tayo lagi doon sa centavo. Up to 2 decimal places. Hundreds, kumbaga. Maliwanag po yun, mga anak. Pero Miko, tama ito? Pag dinire-diretso,
Ma'am, di ko pa lang po na...
Ma'am, tama po. Pag
Tama, no?
dire-diretso.
100,000.0026. So, 2 decimal places lang
Opo.
naman natin. Kaya tama. Okay po. Sa mga calculator ninyo, marunong naman kayong gumamit kapag kayo may fraction, meron siyang exponent, ano mga anak. So, hindi ko na i-discuss yun. Nasa grade 11 na kayo. Yan. Clear ko lang ulit. Okay, let's have this one. She started to deposit 1,000 monthly in a fund that pays 6% compounded quarterly. How much will be in the fund after 15 years? So what is this 1,000 pesos? The R, di ba? Yung malaking R. And then the small r, yung interest rate natin is 0.06. Then the M1, anong M1 natin? At ano din ang ating M2? At ano din yung ating T? Ano yung ating magiging N? Yun kasi yung nagiging problem when it comes to general annuity problems. Ano po? So you need to identify ano talaga yung M1 ninyo, ano yung talaga yung M2. So kapag ganito, yung M1, yan, the monthly, okay. Remember na kapag sinabi nating M1, yun yung period right after the regular payment. Ano po? And then the M2 is the period after the interest rate. So M1 natin is monthly. So in a year, there are 12 months. Kaya M1 is 4 and the time is 15 years. So computing for the N, which is M1 times T. So N will be equal to 180. Okay po? So ang I natin, kapag kinompute na natin, 1 plus I, R natin is 0.06 divided by M2, which is 4, raised to M2 over M1, minus 1. Okay, so again, ginamit ko ay diretso yata siya. 8, the value ng I ninyo is this one. Type lang natin lahat since it will be in the fund after 15 years. Future. Ano po? So sinubstitute natin lahat. So ito po yung lumabas na niya. So pag dire-diretso ulit, ay sorry, ano naman ako dito. So 1,000 times 1 plus 0.00497521 raised to 180 minus 1 divided by 0.00497521. Tama, no? Yan, 290,082.51. Yan. So since 04 yung kasunod, kaya yun. Do not forget to to round off parate. Okay po. So yun po yung paggamit ng present and future values of simple and general annuities. Okay? Let's have the next. So these are the objectives. Yan. Okay. Ano ba pag sinabi natin cash flow? Okay? So usually pag kayo sa bookkeeping, hindi ko alam kung sa ABM pala yon, may business math sila. Ayan, may business math na subject under Sir Giovanni yata. Parang ganon. So ito makikita na ninyo yung cash flow. And even you, kahit kayo ay nasa STEM, pwede kayo mag-note parate ng cash flow ninyo, yung in and out of your money, para makita ninyo saan ba nagastos to, and then at the end of the day, alam ninyo kung alin yung ititrim down ninyo, para yung mga ganong klase. So doon ito makakatulong. Okay, so when we say cash flow, it is a term that refers to payments received. It can be in or out. Yan, pag sinabi nating cash inflow, yun po yung payment na nare-receive. Cash outflow, yun yung deposit or payment na ginagawa ninyo. Yeah. So remember, if it is cash inflows, positive, cash outflows, siya ay negative. So kaya tayo ay laging sa cash inflows. And then the fair market value or economic value, ayan po siya. Hindi ko nababasahin isa-isa mga anak ha. Yan. So tingnan natin to. Okay. So this is a problem na probably pwede nyo ring ma-face or mangyari din sa inyo pagdating ng panahon na yung bang papipiliin kayo which one should be yung mas magandang mag-invest kayo. Okay? So ito, sabi dito, si Mr. Camtin, inoferan siya ng dalawa. Tama ba? Si Mr. Kalipi, ayan, inoferan siya ng dalawa. Yung offer ni Mr. Camtin at offer ni Mr. Cruz. Okay po, kay Mr. Camtin, ang offer sa kanya is 50,000 and 1 million lump sum payment 5 years from now. While yung kay Mr. Cruz na offer, para dun sa lot na binibenta niya, is 50,000 pesos plus 40,000 every quarter for 5 years. So, syempre, kapag ikaw ay isang negosyante, kapag ikaw isang trader, you need to weigh things out. Saan may mas magandang offer, di ba? So, if that will be the case, kailangan ninyo magkaroon kayo ng cash flow. So, paano natin ipapakita yung cash flow niyan? So, syempre, first is the offer of Mr. Camtin. So, 50,000 and then after siya ng lump sum na 1 million. Ano po? So, kay Mr. Cruz naman, yung offer naman niya, 50,000, tapos walang after 5 years. Yan, after 5 years, doon natin mako-compute ha, pero ang payment na gagawin niya is every quarter. You know that naman, in a year, mahati siya into 4. Diba? Ito yung first 3 months. So after the first 3 months, magbabayad sa inyo si Mr. Cruz ng 40,000. After another 3 months, another 40,000. After another 3 months, 40,000 and so on and so forth until nung ika-5th year. Ano po? So, syempre, with the cash flow, hindi natin siya kaagad makikita kung alin ba yung mas maganda. So, pag kinompute na natin, ito na po mangyayari dyan. So, down payment natin for Mr. Camtin's offer, down payment minus the 50,000, and then the future value will be 1 million. The rate is 5%. The time is 5 years. The M is 1, N is 5, and the I is 0.05. So, bakit siya naging M na 1? Binalikan yan. Kasi lump sum, isang bayaran, kumbaga. Walang pagdadaan ng mga buwan pa. Kaya yung M natin, since one-time payment siya, M is 1. Okay? So pag kinompute na po natin siya, from the formula ng present value natin, since wala naman tayong R, di ba yung regular payment. So ito yung magiging gagamitin nating formula. So makukuha natin, the present value will be 783,526.17. Okay? Kumbaga ito na yung dati dito. Yan. Natin yung future future value na niya after yung 5 years. So yung down payment na 50,000 plus yung present value niya, ito is offer. Pero dun sa kay Mr. Cruz na offer, ito yung lalabas dyan. Yung time natin is 5 and then since M1 is quarterly, siya naging 1. Every year, ano po, yan. So, kinompute natin, ito po siya, ayan siya. So, computing for the P, ito yung gagamitin natin. So, lumabas that the present value is 705,000, maliit. Okay, tingnan natin yung magiging future value. So, the down payment na 50,000, tapos yung present value niya na 705,000. So, lumalabas na kanino mas magandang offer? Kay Mr.
Camtin po.
Kay Mr. Camtin. So, ganun po yung paggamit natin ng cash flow para mas makita natin kapag may option tayo sa atin na binibigay kung alin yung mas maganda. Okay? Ano ba yung ibig sabihin natin ng FMV? FMV means the fair market value. Mas mataas ito, okay? Tama ba? 883. So yung kay Mr. Cruz, kinompute natin, ano po, yung present value and then the general annuity. So lumalabas that the fair market value of Mr. Ocampo's offer is 833, which is higher dun sa offer ni Mr. Cruz. Okay. So, kita ninyo, 'di ba? So magkano yung naging difference nung kanilang dalawang offer? Okay? Oh, 77,000 yung difference ng offer nila. Okay po? So in that case, since mas malaki, bakit ganon? May typo na naman ako. It should be Mr. Ocampo's offer, ha? Hindi Mr. Campin. Mr. Ocampo's offer has a higher market value than Mr. Cruz's offer. Okay? And the difference between their offers is 77,953.49. But then again, sometimes it's case-to-case basis. Merong situation na mas maganda na yung shorter period ng paglalamsam mas maganda kaysa dun sa longer period na paglalamsam. Kaya lang ang case naman ito, same naman sila na 5 years. Nagkaiba lang sila dun sa case nung offer ni Mr. Cruz na nagi siyang general annuity ang naging case niya kasi magkaiba. Okay po yun? Again, this is typographical error. This should be Mr. Ocampo's offer is higher than the offer of Mr. Cruz. Parang na ibang aking So yung first task ninyo for this week, ito po yung learning task. Miko, Hubert, anak, screenshot. Okay, though the future and present value lang po yung makikita nyo dyan, it's not simply supplying what is missing in the table. Okay po? So hindi po yan malalagyan ng score kung wala kayong complete solution. So you need to include all your solutions before filling up the table. Again, no solution, no score. Okay po? And then, ayan, from modules 4 to 7 po yan na task. For week 3 ang equivalent. Bakit wala akong wait lang, nawala ang aking learning task. Okay, dito pa pala yon. Ito yung module 7 for week 2. Nandito yung learning task 4. Okay po. Bali, 3 po yung magiging task ninyo. Sorry, hindi ko siya naisama sa WHLP. Kailangan ay meron siyang worksheet 1 and then at the same time may summative 1. Ano po, mga anak, ipopost ko na lang sa Google Classroom, ha? Pasensya na't nagkasabay-sabay ngayong linggong ito. Ayan. Pero yan, kahit ano pa man, ayun pa yun. Pagkakamali ko, aminado. So those are the objectives. Ayan. So ano pag sinabi natin deferred annuity? Di ba sabi natin kanina sa annuity yung taunang kita, taunang binabayad. Pag deferred, syempre, ito yung mga buwan or maaring taon na hindi ka muna magbabayad. Diba? Kung mapapansin nyo, di ba meron sa Abenson minsan ng mga offer na buy now, pay later. Parang after 6 months, saka ka palang mag-start. Yun po yung mga ganong cases ang tinatawag natin na deferred annuities. Ayan. So kaya kung makikita ninyo, ito yung first real life example natin ng deferred annuity, that if you will buy appliance, some big stores or appliance center offers deferred payment. Ganun po siya. Sa credit card, ganun din. Minsan sa real estate, may mga offer din silang ganyan. And then minsan, kapag ikaw ay isang worker na nag-gain ka ng extra income, makukuha mo lang daw yon after several months. Halimbawa, ganyan. Ano po? Okay, di ba yung sa time deposit, ay hindi naman siya payment kasi. Sa time deposit, yung hindi siya pwedeng kunin, halimbawa, after yung time deposit siya, ang time period na halimbawa ay 10 years. So hindi mo siya pwedeng kunin ng below 10 years. Ano po? Yan. So diretso na po ako, ha. Yan. Okay, ito yung mga kailangan ninyong mga terms na tandaan. Okay, but the question is, how do you find the period of deferral? Okay? Sa simple annuity, madali lang kasi same naman yon. Paano kung hindi? Ano po? Bigyan natin ng mga different cases. Monthly payments of 2,000 pesos for 5 years that will start 7 months from now. Ibig sabihin, ano yung magiging period of deferral ninyo? Diba? Kung 5 years yan, Drawing muna ako ha. Period of deferral. Kung 5 years, ito 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 years. Okay? And then sabi, mag-start ka daw ng payment 7 months from now. So since ito yung from 0 day, 7 months, ano po? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dito pa lang sa ika-7 months, doon ka pala mag-start na magbayad. So anong ibig sabihin yan? Ano ang period of deferral mo? Ilang months ang naging period of deferral mo? Ah, 7 months from now pala. 7 months from now. So lumalabas na ang period of deferral, kung makikita ninyo, since monthly payments siya, ay 6 periods or 6 months. So yun yung months before ka mag-start ng payment. Ano po? Okay. So kapag ganitong case, madali lang. It's always N-1. Paano pag naging ganito? Annual payments of 8,000 for 12 years that will start 5 years from now. O, pag ilalagay natin 12 years, pero mag-start pa lang yung payment mo ng 5 years. Ika-5th year, dun pa lang. So, ibig sabihin, ano yung period of deferral? Ano yung ilang months or ilang periods or ilang years yung hindi ka muna magbabayad? So, obviously, kung start pa lang yan ng 5 years, so ang deferral period mo is 4 periods or 4 years. Ano, madali lang itong case nitong dalawang ito. Okay. The next case, ayan, ito, medyo ano na siya. Quarterly payments of 5,000 pesos for 8 years that will start 2 years from now. So, paano natin siya illustrate? Pasensya sa guhit. Eight years siya, di ba? Tapos, ayan. Pakita ko lang yung 2 years. Quarterly payment, 'di ba? Kung quarterly payment for every year, hahatiin natin siya into 4 equal parts kasi nga siya ay quarterly. Medyo hinanaan ko may klase ang anak ko. Parehas kayong may online class. Hindi nagiging equal yung aking pasensya na kayo. Pero ang gusto ko lang ipakita sa inyo dito is yung kung paano makuha natin yung period of deferral. Ayan. So ang sabi, mag-start pa lang kayo magbayad dito sa ika-second year. So ito yung period of deferral natin. So anong ibig sabihin yan? So how many periods ang deferral ninyo? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tama ano? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yan. 7 periods na 7 quarterly din siya or 7 quarters ang inyong period of deferral. Yan. So, ganun po yung pagkuha niya. Kung magiging semi-annual naman siya, so into 2 lang, so mag 1, 2, 3, about 3 periods or 3 semi-annual ang period of deferral. Nandito pa lang tayo sa week 2. Okay, tignan natin yung kasunod. Yan. So, kung makikita ninyo, ito po yung time diagram natin for the period of deferral. So, ito yung wala kayong payments na gagawin. Then, this will be K plus 1, K plus 2, up to K plus N. So, yung period ninyo until that. So this is the formula to find the present value of a deferred annuity. Yan. Nandiyan na si J, nandiyan na si K, mayroon na tayong K. Yan. So ano yung ating definition for that? So pag sinabi natin R, that's the regular payment. The J is the interest rate per period. So same pa rin yung ginagawa natin. That J is I raised to M over M. Ha? Yung I natin, then if it is quarterly payment or semi-quarterly, divide natin siya. And then the N, which is M times T, the number of that. Okay, tingnan natin itong problem na to. Okay. On his 40th birthday, Mr. Arce decided to buy a pension plan for himself. This plan will allow him to claim 10,000 quarterly for 5 years, starting 3 months after his 60th birthday. What one-time payment should he make on his 40th birthday to pay off his pension plan if the interest rate is 8%, compounded quarterly? So based on the problem, these are 4. Why naging 4? Quarterly. Ayan. and then the rate is 0.08, then the time is 5 years, and 0.08 divided by 4, okay? Yan, R over M. And then the N will be M times T is 20, and then the K is 80. Bakit siya magiging 80? Kasi nga, bakit naging 80 ang ating K? Ano nga daw ang K? K is the number of conversion periods in the deferral. Yan. So using the formula, yan po yung lumabas na formula natin. Okay. Tingnan natin bakit siya naging K equals 80. Ayan. So bakit siya naging K equals 80? Dahil po, di ba 60 minus 40 is 20. Ano po? So 20 years. Within 20 years, yung period natin, times 4 kasi quarterly, 20 times 4, kaya siya naging 80. Nasundan ako mga anak.
Yes po.
So yung P natin, sinubstitute na natin yung mga given natin, is 33,538.38. And so for your learning task number 4, this is a performance task for week 3. Ayan po siya. Ano sa una? Na-screenshot yun, anak?
Yes
Okay
po.
na? Lipat ko na. Thank you. Yan. Ito yung talagang, kumbaga yun, madaling performance task. Ito, it's an essay question, an open-ended question that you need to answer. Kaya siya naging performance task. Ano po? So, huwag kalilimutan, bawal ang kulang para sa score ninyo. Okay? So, 3 parts po yung learning task 4. So, plus yung written work number 1. Okay po? For week 3. Isesend ko na lang po siya sa Google Classroom. Yung written work number 1. And then the summative test number 1 ay sa test portal ulit po siya. Okay? Basta yon. First 100 muna ha. Kung sino yung hindi makakakuha ng first 100 within 4 days sa kasunod na set. Pero once lang kayo pwedeng mag-take. Ha? So since medyo familiar na kayo with test portal na ginamit ko last quarter, so yun po ang gagamitin natin for summative tests and post-test. Okay? Okay na mga anak? Yan. So yun po yung dalawang learning task. Wala na. Stop share muna ako kasi bago yung PowerPoint na for the second one. Yeah. For week 4, familiar kayo sa stocks? So kailan ba magandang mag-invest sa stock market? Kailan hindi maganda? Ano? So usually daw dun sa nabasa ko, bumababa ang stock price during the 10th or 15th or yung middle part ng month. Kaya maganda daw mag-invest kumbaga before yung unang part ng buwan. Okay? So 3 models. And so with this, dedred kasi more on ano lang to, tawag natin, terminalizing lang from the given. Okay? 4. Okay? So let's try to answer this para ma-familiarize na kayo with the different words. Ito yung learning task 2 for week 4. Okay po? So you know naman, pagka, who knows this? Sum 23. 23.1. How will you complete this? Okay. So ito, pag kinomplete natin, makikita ninyo. If you know, yun na yun. Okay, question 1. The current price of a stock at which it can be sold is, yan. So you know naman what this word should be. Ano po? The Lord. So ibig sabihin na number 1 natin is O. So meaning, market value is the current price of a stock at which it can be sold. So yung mga pinagbebenta, daming lumalabas ngayon sa Facebook na ganyan, di ba? Halimbawa, pag invest ka daw sa Jollibee, halimbawa, ganito yung price, yan. So yun yung mga sinasabi natin na market value. Sulat ko lang. So this is O. Okay. Then this one, a person or institution who invest, syempre, ikaw yung nag-i-invest, you are the investor. And then, next word, kapag naman, ikaw yung nangutang, syempre, ang tawag sa iyo, debtor or borrower. Yan. Okay. Next word, the amount of money borrowed. Ito yung hiniram mo. Okay? Siyempre, that is the original amount, sabi natin. That's the principal. Okay? This one. Next word, the amount paid or earned for the use of money is called, siyempre, ang word natin dito ay shepherd. Ano? H. So yung interest, so from the principal amount, yung madadagdag halimbawa, kung yan ay pinautang mo, that's the interest, yung nadagdag, yung sinasabi natin dito. Okay? Next word, a stake of ownership in a company. Yan. Yung ownership mo sa isang company na hindi naman ikaw yung solo lang na nagmamay-ari, yung part lang doon ang tinatawag natin ay stock. Next word, ano kayang word yan? Ano kayang letter? Ay, balikan ko lang. An equity market where regular activities of buying, yan. Doon nagaganap ang buying, selling, issuance of shares of publicly held companies take place. Anong tawag po natin doon? It's the, kung saan kayo pwedeng mag-invest, it's the stock market. Okay? And the next word natin, ito na yung nagiging kita. Diba, nag-invest kayo, after a year, may ipapamahagi sa inyong pera. So yung makukuha ninyo doon, yun yung tinatawag natin na dividend. Okay? So, ayan, nakukompleto na. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack. Siyempre, this word ay nothing. Tama? Pero ano yung word natin doon? So stockbroker, ang tawag natin, that's the an investment advisor who executes buy and sell orders. So usually ang dami yan ngayon sa online ng mga nag-o-offer, kaya lang you have to be very careful. Ano po? Yung kung talaga sila legit. Okay? Kasi baka mamaya ay ano lang pala yun. And then the last one, the bond. Ano ba yan? Si James Bond. So pag sinabi nating bond, it's a debt that the company or entity enters into with the investor that pays the investor interest on the debt is called the bond. Siyempre, mas maganda yung stock kasi kikita ka doon kesa sa bond. So, yan po yung mga different words na may encounter ninyo for week 4. Hindi ko na iniisa-isa yung definition talaga ha. Yan. So ito po yung mga words related to iba pang stakeholders ha. Stockholders, dividend, dividend per share, yield ratio, and then the market value. Pagdating naman sa stock market, of course, sa bond, this po yan sa i-upload ko na module. Hintay-hintay words related to, ayan. Ito lang kailangan tandaan when it comes to bond. Yan. If the par value, yan. Purchase at par, pag purchase at a discount, less than, pag greater than, premium naman siya. Sinama-sama ko na ha. Yan. Ito lang yung formula natin for week 4. That the dividend share, to compute for the dividend share, it should be the total dividend divided by the total shares. So let's say for example, sa isang company, nag-share ka ng 100 shares. Okay? Tapos kumita yung company ng 1 million. Ibig sabihin, yung each share mo ay di 1 million divided by 100 shares. So yun ang makukuha mo. Pag gusto mo naman makuha yung total share mo, ay di yung naging dividend mo times 100 ba? Sinabi ko kanina. O may typographical error na naman ako. So katulad yung dividend, total dividend mo, ito kasi per share. Ito yung total dividend mo para makuha mo is the dividend share percent, the dividend percent is yung solution. Ano po? So ibig sabihin, kung i-compute natin how much is the dividend, from the formula natin, dividend will be equal to 500 times 200 times 0.03. Magkano po ang lalabas?
$3,000 po.
So yung kanyang 500 pesos after certain time, kapag nag-distribute na ng dividend, dahil siya may 200 shares, yung 500 niya will receive a dividend of 3,000 pesos. A total. Kung pag dividend per share, ay di 3,000 divided by 200, 15 pesos lang yung makukuha niya per share. Kaya mas maraming shares, mas marami kang makukuhang dividend. Ano po? So, ganun lang po yung pag-compute niyan ha. Ano pa? Okay, learning task 3. Again, kailangan po natin dito ng complete solution ulit ha. Ayan. So manipulate the formula. You have there the dividend per share, the number of shares. So you need to compute for the dividend. Ito naman, share naman ang nawawala. The number of shares. Learning task 3 for week 4. Okay, so I have here a stock market table. Ayan. So paano ba tayo tumitingin sa stocks? So this is entitled stock on new activity. Okay. Kung makikita ninyo in 52 weeks, yeah. So these are the different stocks. Merong sa 52-week high, the dividend per share, ito yung number of shares in terms of 100, so yung volume, yung magko-closing, ito yung kung magkano, yung difference. So if we will try to look at the table and we will just use the stock AAA. So lahat ay kay A lang. Dito lang tayo titingin ha. Ito sa unang ito. Correct. Yan. Yan lang. Yan lang titingnan natin ha. Tinype ko ba ang question? First, ay hindi ko pala tinype yung question. Wait lang. First question, by looking at the table, just use the stocks AAA ha. Okay. So what is the highest price for the past 52 weeks for stock AAA? Magkano daw?
74.32 po.
Yan. So ito po yun ha, yung highest price for stock AAA. How about the lowest price? Siyempre, that's the 68. Okay po? How about the highest and lowest prices for AAA shares yesterday? Ano magiging sagot ninyo doon?
Yun po mong 70 and 69.50 po.
70
Yung
and
highest.
69.50. So ang highest yesterday, ang tanong doon ni A is yung 69.50 is the low, okay? And then sa next question ko ay what was the dividend per share last year? So the dividend per share ay di sa column kayo ng dividend. Ito yung DIV. Titingin 0.70, okay? Follow-up question, what was the closing price on the last trading day? O, closing price, ay dito kayo sa close naman titingin, 70.95. And then last question, what was the closing price the day before? The day before the last trading day. So kung ito yung naging last price nung trading day, last trading day, sa ito daw yung, ano to? The net change. So, ibig sabihin, 70.25 minus 0.10 ay 70.15 was the closing price the day before the last trading day. So, ganun po yung pagtingin sa table, ha? On stocks. Okay? How about this question? During the past 52 weeks, which stocks in the table sold at the highest? Ano magiging sagot niyo doon?
Stock B po.
Yan, stock BBB. Okay, thank you. How about the lowest price? Which stock?
Stock EE po.
Stock EEE. Yan, thank you. So, paano natin nakuha yun? Pag ang tinanong ay highest, ay dito tayo sa column na to titingin. So, yung may highest is 115 and that is stock BBB. For the lowest, dito naman tayo titingin, ang may pinakamababa ay 23.25 and that is stock EEE. Okay po? Next, how many shares of EEE were traded? Saan naman natin siya makikita? Okay, dito sa volume. Ano? Sa EEE, ano yung volume niya? It's 1,500. Maliwanag? Next question. Which stocks have the highest share were traded for the day? Alin ang may highest?
Stock BBB po.
BBB. How about the lowest?
Stock CCC po.
Okay. Sa nakita yon?
Sa volume po.
Yan. Okay na po yun? Yan. So, bago mag-end, so this is your learning task for week 4. Yan. Na-screenshot na po. And this one. For weeks 3 and 4, ang inyo pong outputs ay tig-3 ha. Yan. This one also, yan, you have to explain ha and show why. Yun yung naging sagot ninyo. So after this, so dun sa learning task 3 and 4 na pinakita natin kanina sa slides, ang additional po dyan is yung written work number 1 and summative test number 1. Okay na po. Question. Send ko mamaya yung ano ha, yung isang nakaligta ko na solution for that part.